Battlefield 1 a new game or just a reskin? Today we're going to discuss that and break down in more detail what kind of gameplay elements we should expect and be ready for. I have discussed similar topics in the past, but today we're going to be trying to break it down further and try and bring it all together, trying to form an idea of what the gameplay is going to be like overall. Some of this gameplay is from my recent montage, you should go check that out if you haven't seen it. Now the big thing that has changed is Conquest. The score now counts up to 200 rather than down, and no longer will kills, or more specifically, spawning in count towards losing tickets, a change that I think personally is for the better. Spawning in Conquest on BF4 resulted in a ticket loss. No longer is that the case. Some YouTubers have voiced their concerns about this. Me personally, I think this is a step in the right direction, and the question we need to ask ourselves is Conquest about holding the objectives, or is it about getting kills? It would seem the new system favors strategy over kills, but that doesn't necessarily mean that kills are no longer important. They are. It is just now that the kills that are not near or on objectives or are not helping in pushing the enemy back and helping capture objectives more easily are no longer as important. A couple of my games in the closed alpha I found I was stuck between objectives, getting lots of kills but not always getting all the way to the objective, and you guys may find this in the final game being the case too. Now this doesn't necessarily mean those kills are not important. They kept the enemy away, but when you look at the scoreboard, you'll simply find that the players that are primarily on the objectives and getting kills on or near them will be much higher up the scoreboard, and that's just something you're going to have to accept. Now, how much those kills in BF4 help towards the win is up for debate, but the fact is now, in BF1, that final win and those extra points gained for the win are all tied to how well you actually play the objective this time round. With that in mind, hopefully that will mean more players will realise that they need to be hitting those objectives hard, not only for the win, but for those faster unlocks, the more points, the better weapons, and so on, whatever it may be. The map design seen in the alpha seem to try and direct the teams into battle more so than previous games. Both teams spawn near a flag that can be captured quickly, very easy to defend due to being right next to where vehicles spawn, and equally difficult for opponents to attack, also due to those vehicles. In terms of walking distance, both are quite far from other objectives and in fairly open areas, so unless there's a ton of players working together here, from what I saw in the alpha, it's mainly going to be defenders holding these areas, and these are going to be easily regained if lost. The outsides of the map were ideal for snipers and for flanking around the enemy. With the open maps, however, you had to make sure the decision was right before moving around the outsides. A flank always sounds helpful, but often I felt I would have likely survived longer or been more effective next to my teammates. If you get caught on one of these outside flags on your own, it's very difficult to survive. The middle flags were where all the action takes place. A small village was seen in the middle of the map with countless potential ways the game could play. Buildings to hide in, to shoot out of, alleyways, it's all there, but it's never really the same. The pacing changes, 1 minute it's frantic, and then the next is long-range battles where snipers are supreme. Situational awareness, the knowing of what's going on around you, and using that knowledge in deciding how to play and what engagements to take is going to be vital to your survival. But don't worry, it's not an insane difficulty. Everybody else is having to think of the same things. The way each flag and area can play out really keeps the game fresh. Each flag is its own little battlefield, playing out differently each time based on who controls which building, what weapons they are using, and what surrounding flags they own. A tower in the middle of the map can be helpful for spotting the enemies ahead, but on your own, not a wise place to be in. Stationary weapons are scattered across the map, powerful in the right hands, yet extremely vulnerable. Wise to use when your team has control of the area, but open to snipers from far away and anyone with a good shot. SMGs do dominate in close quarters, but burn through ammo very quickly, shotguns too. Rifles are more for the accurate player. LMGs, while quite powerful in the right hands, they are not too powerful without their bipods. Snipers do dominate if you hit that one-shot headshot though. Talking of bipods, very easy to use this time round, much more enjoyable, very quick to deploy. The accuracy bonus can be felt straight away. Very vulnerable, but not like the clumsy bipods in BF4, definitely more enjoyable. As you're watching some of my gameplay, it can be very easy to look at the clips and think that the weapons are too powerful, but that is certainly not the case. It's the positioning that is really key here. It's very easy to burn through the SMG's ammo, so easy to take your bipod out in the wrong place and get dinked in the face. Snipers race so fast, but if that headshot misses, it's over, you're done. So while these weapons may seem powerful in these clips, it's all about the positioning. If you get that wrong, you're not going to have a good time. The vehicles are powerful, no doubt, in that, but what isn't being discussed fully is their weaknesses. In the alpha, you can choose any vehicle you want, and that plays a huge part in how well you do and how effective you are as a teammate and winning the game. Free bomber planes, for example, in the sky could be very effective against infantry, but not too great against the attack planes. Do you need free bombers or free attack planes? What about a mixture? Which map are these going to be effective on or not? Is this the right setup for the current game? These are all questions you've got to be asking. Jet taxes are going to be reduced. There's no jets, but planes, but that's all going. Each pilot spawns in with their own class, a weapon that leaves much to be desired, so I wouldn't bail out with that. Good luck to you if you do, so definitely going to be seeing less taxiing in vehicles. As for tanks, the light tank is no doubt very powerful. It's equipped with poison gas and a medic crate to help out your team, but with only one seat, a quick disable could leave you very vulnerable on the battlefield. Repairs are an option, but can you repair in time? Then you have the A7V, 6 seats, anti-tank mines popping out the back, smoke screen, a very powerful tank indeed, incredibly effective against aircraft. But with its limited viewing angles at the front, it's very easy to get stuck, and is having all your eggs in one basket a good idea? A strong but vulnerable tank indeed. Very strong for pushing flags as a single unit, but again, all your eggs in one basket, not a good idea. The land ship, this has 3 seats, a machine gun on the front, capable of crossing trenches, ammo and medic crate drops for teammates, turret either side. Slow, but very powerful, but also weak against the rear. Tricky one. Is this one worth using? Maybe in the right hands. But these are all questions that you need to ask yourself, and it's really going to change how the battlefield plays out. If one team has 3 of the same tank, they have weaknesses in other places, whereas if you have like a mixture, you may be better off. But these are all questions we'll have to figure out along the way, and it might not be so easy. The light tank, that was my obvious choice from the start. That was awesome, but as the games went on, I was like, I'm kind of on my own here. I'm not able to help people spawn up the map and stuff like that, so it was kind of powerful as a solo player, but for the team, is it really helpful? It might be in the right places, but not in others. I'm sure you've seen a lot of my aircraft gameplay. It's awesome. I really enjoy the aircraft, but I think they do need a boost against infantry and vehicles. The tanks seem to be reasonably balanced in my opinion. A lot of the gameplay coming out hints at them being quite OP, but I don't think that will be the case in the final game. Again, like I've said in previous commentaries, there simply wasn't enough players going up against vehicles in the alpha, many not even aware of anti-tank grenades. The vehicles themselves, while powerful, appear to be much more vulnerable than BF4. Just like the infantry, positioning is real key here. With the addition of animations when entering vehicles and the weak infantry classes available to vehicle users, many will need to ensure they are in the right area at the right time. Jumping blindly onto an objective in a vehicle won't be so easy this time around. As for the Behemoths, definitely a visually powerful presence, but game-changing, I would say probably not the case. Certainly helpful if you have a few good players in the gunner seats, great for dropping in and flanking your opponents, which may help you get the win, but ultimately these are more of a spectacle than anything that is truly game-changing. A neat addition, I think, adds to the atmosphere, the experience as well, but isn't game-breaking, and that's a good thing. That is just my opinion. I think other people might disagree. They might say players are just going to sit in the seats, and that might not help out your team. And yes, that could be an issue, but I don't think it's so easy to get kills from up in there in the airship. So I think you'll find a lot of people will go up there, try it out, and then after a while think, probably more effective on the ground, probably have more fun on the ground even. Going back to infantry, melee combat will play a much bigger role this time round. 1 hits from the back will make flanking a whole lot easier. 80 damage to the front and 2 hits may be a little too much, and the melee attack itself is a little too sticky. That needs toning down. With the addition of the charge combat, I think will be much more interesting this time round. You'll have to be more aware of what you're doing, and you'll have to make that decision. Is it worthwhile to melee or charge? Or maybe not do anything? Is the enemy injured enough for a quick takedown? Are they in the right place or position? Will it give you away? These are all questions that will need to be answered very quickly, and if you do get it wrong, it could cost you an easy death. Snipers also come with the addition of K-bullets, which are armor-piercing rounds. Not super powerful, but in the right spot, certainly helpful. Incendiary and various other grenades return. Anti-tank grenades can be equipped by all classes and will likely be a wise choice for most players, but we also have the addition of mustard gas and gas mask. I've talked about this before in more detail. This is really going to change the game in many places, particularly in objective modes. Everybody gets a gas mask. They are vital when mustard gas is present. With it on though, you can only hip fire, so it'll leave enemies, such as snipers, extremely vulnerable when cooped up in buildings. A game changer for sure, one that leaves those near it incredibly vulnerable. Will be interesting to see how that plays out in the final release. Destruction is of course a huge game changer this time round. No longer do you have Levolution, unless you count the airship dropping onto you and leaving its carcass for you to fight in. Most of the environment is destructible. A roof being partially destroyed opens new spots up for snipers. Walls coming down leave no cover for you to hide behind. Craters form where buildings stood, opening up new types of battles for you to deal with. It's all looking pretty good so far. A lot of it is in the right direction. I think it is going in the right direction. Some people think this new Conquest is more casual. I wouldn't. Nah, I do not think that is the case. This time it's more about objective play this time around than about kills. Kills are still important, however, but not in terms of ticket bleeds. But before we go, we must discuss some of the issues that may lessen the experience in many ways. Firstly, flag assets. Some flags offer additional vehicles. This is a little overkill in my opinion. Capturing a flag already gives the team extra map control. Any additional vehicles is just overkill. Secondly, the sun. A lot of people seem to have an issue with this. I don't think it's that powerful. You can still see, just maybe needs toning down just a little bit. Score points. When you get additional points on top of your kill, the heads-up display doesn't keep up. Any additional kills take forever to show them. Not a huge issue in my eyes, but I have seen a few people on Reddit complain about this, and you know, I kind of agree. I kind of prefer a much cleaner scoreboard, cleaner heads-up display. Some of the montage clips that I've shown today from One Man Army 3 were a pain to edit, because I was trying to show that I still got the kill in some clips, but then you had to wait, and sometimes you have to wait so long, it's like, ugh, I can't have this clip, this just looks a bit, just doesn't look good, so I had to try and figure out ways to edit them in, and it's very frustrating actually. But lastly, 3D spotting. Damn, in the alpha that was overkill. Passive 3D spotting was present. This apparently was a bug that wasn't meant to be there, but this I would love to see gone. No longer do you show up on the minimap when firing, and I personally think this game would be a lot more enjoyable, especially for those who are on their own or trying to flank, to not show up on the map simply because someone pressed a button on their controller or keyboard. And nope, hardcore does not solve this. Hardcore is not the answer. I choose normal mode for the potential gunfights, the multiple enemy engagements, and hardcore has rarely any of that, and it's just far too campy for my liking. Hardcore is quite simply not hardcore enough for me. I don't think it's that great of a game mode. It certainly has its merits, certainly enjoyable in many ways, but much prefer normal. And that's where we're going to end this video. I have discussed similar stuff in previous videos, but today I just wanted to put it all together in a single video, in a more detailed, and try and talk about how they all affect the gameplay together in many ways. Hopefully I've achieved that. If I haven't, let me know. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And that is all for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this commentary. Please leave me a like or a dislike if you didn't. And make sure to check out my loadout video in case you missed that one. And we shall see you soon. Thank you very much. See you later.